to all. Um, Good evening and namaste to all. It's wonderful to host all of you from IIT Bombay and Ashoka University. It's really a privilege and an honor to have the opportunity to work with such esteemed colleagues from really the most productive and sort of thoughtful colleagues from our point of view from Johns Hopkins. So we're thrilled to have the opportunity to come up with new ideas and new ways to really collaborate and have some resources to help spark the new ideas and the innovation that can come from working together. And we hope that this is sort of serves as a platform as part of our institute, the Gupta-Klinsky India Institute. As some of you know, we've already had one round, and with launching the collaboration with Ashoka University and IIT Bombay, and with the wonderful generosity of the Koita Foundation, where they've really provided both your own centers support, but have also agreed to supporting the next round so that we can continue the collaboration. And on the US side, our institute, the Gupta-Klinsky Institute, will help support the US side. So really what we want to have this be is beginning of a partnership with both of your institutions, and to really come up with a nice competitive way to get new ideas funded and to have you make some new friends. Or strengthen the ones you already have. And of course, nothing like having a little bit of money in a competition to do that. So without further ado, I'm just really thrilled to be a part of this fantastic team, and look forward to hearing all of the ideas you have.
Thank you, Meeta. Thank you for your inspiring words. And the last 3 years have been quite energizing, even for us at the Gupta-Klinsky India Institute. And maybe in the next few minutes, I'll just give a brief overview of the kind of projects that we have embarked upon and we continue to collaborate on. So as Amita mentioned, the idea behind Breakthrough Grants were basically to spark some initial partnerships and collaborations between our institutions. And this really has emerged as a catalytic funding, which has been able to draw further grants in the next round. And we are very happy to report that 4 projects were funded in the previous round. In terms of how we have evaluated the projects in the past, they are largely focused on the scientific approach, whether the project is multidisciplinary in nature or not, the kind of impact the projects are making in real world. So most of our projects had a client or a government agency or a partner where they were working directly with patients or a population which was directly impacted by the outcomes of the project. So that is certainly one criteria we'll continue to hold in the next round. We also looked at the feasibility of the project to be completed in a 24-month period. Our experience has been then that a lot of time goes into getting approvals. So we are making sure that the projects that get picked up here are feasible in that 24-month timeline. We also look at the potential for the projects to get further funding in future. And last but not the least, we also look at the cost effectiveness of the project. So that is some of the criteria that we use in evaluating the proposals that come in. We are also happy to report that most of our funding in the previous round went on to support early career researchers. And we are hoping that in the future rounds, we will be supporting many more. So in terms of just the partnership between Hopkins and the Koita Center with Ashoka University, our partnership started in 2022. And we're happy to report that we have extended our collaboration by another 3 years to 2028. Similarly, with IIT Bombay, our partnership started in 23, and we will continue to collaborate on research until 2029. This is a brief snapshot of the 4 projects that are currently ongoing. In the next 3 months or so, pretty much all of our projects will come to a completion. As you can see, most of our projects were focused on the applications of digital technologies, AI and machine learning in improving health outcomes. So they The first project with Ashoka University was around machine learning methods to enhance forecasting of ART demand in India. The second project was leveraging large language models and common data models to extract real-world evidence for electronic health records. With IIT Bombay, we are working on a project which leverages the NICSHare data for TB recurrence modeling. And another project where Nilanjan and Saket are working to develop a breast cancer risk prediction tool, primarily will be applied at the Tata Memorial Hospital in Bombay. So in the next round, we have agreed to sponsor 4 more projects, 2 at IIT Bombay and 2 at Ashoka. This time around, we have committed to a slightly larger grant. Last time, the size of the grant was about $60,000. We have increased it to $80,000 each. So it's a total pool of $320,000 for the next round of breakthrough grants. We will be running the project for 18 to 24 months, and we are hoping that it will generate potential future funding of at least 4x in the future. So that's in short the overview of the projects that we have done so far. Later on, we will also be talking about the nitty-gritties of the next round of call for applications. But before that, we have some stellar presentations from our faculty members, and I'll hand it over to Meghishish to take forward the session.
Thank you for that, Nitisha. For the next presentation, I would like to invite Dr. Anurag Agarwal to provide us an overview of the Koita Center at Digital Health at Ashoka University. So handing over to you, sir.
Thanks. Let's see if I can get this to work. My Zoom has been a bit painful, but let's see. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So the KCDH at Ashoka was designed to kind of bring together healthcare, genomics, and AI to advance digital health research. Very broadly, there were 4 reasons. One is that we see digital health as much more than digital enabling of current health systems. So it's not trying to do telemedicine or EHRs alone. We see all the omics and predictive medicine as very much on that. We try as much as possible to go outside conventional public academia and try to create young leaders, and that's why the focus on new people. We've been active working with the government, working recently on the India National AI Strategy for Health. Broadly, these are the 4 areas in which we are most active. One is health AI, other is omics, variety of types, variables and sensors, and very importantly to us, and this I think is something that's a key focus area, is responsible AI and data ecosystems. And the data ecosystems bit I'll explain a bit more. So for example, we are working on validation evaluation models that can be scaled at country scale. And this is work that has just started with Gates Foundation. And a lot of this work will be on deploying open source medical foundation models and voice scribes in ways that people can give feedback on, and you get a sense of how well they work in multi-languages in a very diverse country like India. I'm not going to spend too much time on omics, but within the disease areas that we work on, AMR, longevity, cardiorespiratory, and cancer have been 4 areas where we have, and you might hear some projects on antibiotics and AMR. We happen to have built good relationships with Indian companies with API level access to their devices. And some works are going on, for example, for early prediction of asthma and COPD exacerbations, and some studies on GU health. This is an area that's of interest to us beyond just research. It's also an area of interest for education, training, interactions, public policy, and we are partners with the WHO Southeast Asian region for all of this. And these are the kind of things that we are doing. Very briefly, in the last round, the 2 projects that we funded, one was on machine learning methods for forecasting of antiretroviral therapy that was already mentioned. And I think you're going to hear Rintu, and I believe Matthew was not able to join, but Rintu is there. Of course, you can never do anything about a center without acknowledging all the people who fund us. And apart from the joint grants between us, which the Gupta-Klinsky Institute has been a very kind funder, Gates Foundation and ICMR are the biggest funders other than the Koita Foundation. We work very closely with the government and the Gates Foundation on all of this. I hope it gives you a small flavor of the range of things that are currently happening at KCDH. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that overview. Quickly moving to our next presentation, I would like to invite Dr. Raghav from the KCDH at IIT Bombay. So, sir, if you can provide us with an overview, we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Makashish. Let's see if I can get this up and running. Please confirm, can see my screen?
Yes, sir, we see it.
Yes. Yes, thank you. That's great. Yes. So I thank Dr. Anurag Agarwal for setting up the stage nicely. I don't have to introduce either digital health or the necessary for healthcare research in India. Thank you very much, sir. It's an honor to present after you. So I also don't have to introduce IIT Bombay to any one of you, and we know about the technical innovation that's the driving IIT Bombay as a top-tier academic institute. But I want to highlight one thing. In the last 7 to 10 years, IIT Bombay and many of the IITs have invested a lot in increasing the research strength of the institute itself, and that is reflected in the number of PhD and master's students that are currently occupying the IIT student space. So there is a lot of potential to tap into, and that's what we are also doing right here. So KCDH at IIT Bombay sits in the center where it can collaborate with many of different and variety of different studies and research centers and departments, ranging from Trust Lab, which purely works in security, cybersecurity, and etc., and all the way to pure animal studies from biosciences, bioengineering, and we have technology innovation at TC-A2I and C-Minds Innovation Center at for AI and ML. So we take care of the digital health component of many and work with many of the different centers and departments you will see in a while, short while. So we are established at 2021, and we are currently into 5-6 years of establishment, and we are progressing quite well. And you will see how I come to that statement. So this also very well established by Dr. Anurag Agarwal. So we also want to work in the intersection between engineering, math expertise, and clinical expertise. So we quietly simply want to bring both these expertise together and give them a platform to work and excel on research initiatives that excite both the parties. So we take this through 3 different verticals that we call them: academic programs, R&D programs, and outreach programs. And the R&D grants that we release, you're also very well aware, and Gupta-Klinsky Institute and Breakthrough Grants are one of the key components of what we do. And other supportive grants that we actually release are the Healthcare AI Innovation Grant supported by Koita Foundation, and the KCDH grant, which is supported by the seed funding from Koita Foundation. So we have 2 academic programs that are targeted towards the undergrad students of IIT Bombay, where some of them can get some introduction to digital health or healthcare informatics by completing 4 to 5 courses in their stay here, and some of them tend to extend the stay by opting to get the second degree, master's degree, that we call interdisciplinary dual degree program, where they spend 14 months of research at KCDH with one of our faculties. And we also have in-house MS by research program, where it's an open-ended program targeted heavily at training students as research technicians and research experts. And we have a PhD program, which is running very successfully. So this is the engine that drives Koita Center for Digital Health at IIT Bombay. Professor Ranjit Patin-Hatiri is a professor in charge, PIC of KCDH, and Professor Ganesh Ramakrishnan was the previous PIC. And we have 3 core faculty: Professor Kshitij, Professor Saket, who was a previous winner of Breakthrough Grants at IIT Bombay, and Professor Nimal Punjabi. And we also have a professor of practice, Dr. Kalyani Adya, retired from Army Colonel. And we have quite diverse adjunct and visiting faculty range who usually tend to spend something like 4 to 6 weeks at IIT Bombay and interact with students, offer minor workshops, and go. And the center at IIT Bombay is supported from faculties and professors from a wide variety of different departments. We have 14 contributions from 14 different departments towards the digital health research that is fueling Koita Center for Digital Health at IIT Bombay. So that is quite that is quite successfully established here. So our key focus areas are very diverse, and we have one or two projects that is spanning multiple areas of these broad verticals of research. And some of them have actually many of them are at a stage where they have yielded a publication or patents or spun off into startups and companies. And many of these projects are that we can say are proudly supported and funded by Koita Center for Digital Health, and a couple of them are funded in collaboration with Gupta-Klinsky Institute and Johns Hopkins University. So this expertise, I also don't want to tend to linger too much onto this. Professor Kshitij, who leads Artificial Intelligence Digital Health Lab, and he works in resource-constrained settings of harnessing the power of AI and ML for healthcare challenges. And Professor Kshitij, and he is the previous winner of breakthrough grants at IIT Bombay, and he focuses on statistical methods development for human disease biology, and his interests are quite varied. Many of these bios and what they are interested in are available at KCDH IIT Bombay website, and I suggest you to take a look at them in detail. And Professor Nirmal is the latest joinee for our Koita Center for Digital Health, and he leads a sensoring and monitoring lab, and he focuses on developing solutions, end-to-end expert at developing wearables and sensoring and monitoring solutions for screening and other research. And I'm also proud to say Professor Ganesh Sivaraman, who will present in a short while, has also joined this meeting, and he will join Koita Center for Digital Health at Bombay quite soon. Right? And we have quite strong partnership focus, and I don't want to go through all of them, and we have roughly 35 plus MOU signed that fuels the research at KCDH and IIT Bombay. And some of the MOUs that we signed in the last year are with WHO, ICMR, Samsung Research, Jülich, JIPMER, and NIMHANS, promoting research, data sharing, and further involvement with KCDH IIT Bombay faculties. Right? And we strengthened our existing partnership with MUHS, who we collaborate very heavily on multiple aspects on capacity building and also on research and etc. And our Tata Memorial collaboration is very well established, and more than 10 to 12 projects running parallelly with TMC at ACTRAC here. And Narayana Health and Max Healthcare are very are quite friendly too. We are very close to them. And some of our collaborations have actually spun off to an excellent initiatives that have taken its own path. Right, currently the National Disease Modeling Consortium at IIT Bombay, we are very proud to say that it nucleated as a project under KCDH, and now it is headed by DG ICMR themselves, and they report to the Health Secretary themselves, and the targets are set by the Ministry themselves. So we have a consortium of 10 to 12 institutes, and they are taking this parallelly to KCDH's efforts at IIT Bombay. And we are training talent at an unprecedented level. We have 45 PhD students and 100 BTech students who are interested in taking up courses and working on research at KCDH at IIT Bombay. And with that, I would stop at this point, and they are supported by one of me and many of us in Koita Center for Digital Health Operations team. And this is how you can follow us. You can get in touch with us. We are very active in social media. You can learn many of what we are doing through these engagements with us. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to take questions if we have time or later. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Raghav. Thank you so much for that. Moving on to the next presentation, I would like to invite Dr. Matthew Robinson and Dr. Rintu Kutum, showcasing a success story from our previous iterations. So over to you, Dr.
Thank you for the invitation. Rintu, are you going to share the slides? Rintu?
Yeah.
Thank you. While Rintu's loading them up, just our project is a collaboration, both directions between Ashoka and Hopkins. Our title is to leverage language models and a common data model to unlock real-world evidence from unstructured electronic health record data in India. Go to the next one. So to set the stage, we have to understand what common data models are and why they're important. in general, when we have data in multiple projects, it's very difficult to merge them together. Variables are defined and described differently, so it's difficult to combine the data. Go to the next slide. So common data models offer a better way to do this. Use standard terminology, organize data from multiple sources, store the data in a standard set of tables with relationships defined between the concepts. Go to the next slide. And so the OMOP common data model is one that is now broadly adopted across the world by 80 or 90 countries, depending on how you count it, up to 1 billion patients included in some way or another. Go to the next slide. And so what it does is it represents electronic health record data in a series of standard tables that everyone uses. Go to the next slide. And so why is this so important? It offers the opportunity to do network studies. The idea being you share code, not data. The data is stored actually as numbered concepts with no free text data storage. So it really helps with data security and enables for these large scale collaborations because you keep your data and you just exchange the analytic code. Go to the next slide. And so coming to our project. So we know that electronic health record adoption is accelerating across India, but most of this data is in unstructured free text. And some of it in the US is trapped in that unstructured way as well. It's difficult to analyze and report on this. So the solution, we think, is to transform these unstructured notes into structured data and then into a common data model, which will allow us to do privacy preserving collaborations where, again, we share code, not data. We don't have to deal with all those prohibitions on data sharing across countries. And the idea being that there's a lot of knowledge that is hiding in electronic health records in India that we'd like to explore and bring to the world. And the use case that we targeted for this project are antibiotics for respiratory infections. Go to the next slide. And so these are our objectives, and I'll kind of go through them one by one. Go to the next slide. So objective one is basically to tailor these large language models to extract data from the Indian clinical context. The problem being that international drug terminology databases don't include the brand names used in India. So there's a lot of work that needed to be done. Let's go to the next one. And then for our second objective, we wanted to look at the prevalence and choice of antibiotics prescription among outpatients with febrile respiratory illness in India and the US. We wanted to define this by symptoms, fever, and a respiratory complaint among outpatient visits. The problem is that all the data in India is in a free text form, and even in the US, our data on symptoms are locked in free text. So we wanted to use an LLM to convert them to structured data and then to OMOP. Go to the next slide. And then for the last objective, there's some work needed to get microbiology data into OMOP. Extracting clinical features from unstructured clinical data is possible to do manually, but difficult to scale. Go to the next slide. And so existing published SOPs exist to identify cases of, for example, pneumonia from clinical notes. Go to the next slide. And let's go to the next slide for time purposes. You can skip this. And so one thing we've built on the US side are these workflows to take records from the electronic health record, pre-annotate them using a large language model, and have a human confirm those annotations. Go to the next slide. And I think we can go to the next slide and let Ritu talk about all the exciting work that he's done on the India side.
Thank you so much, Matthew, for the nice introduction and the defining the problem statement and setting the stage. So, hi everyone. So I will be just covering the briefly, not so much of the detail, but what are the major milestones that we could able to achieve during this tenure, and We are still, a couple of objectives we need to meet, but nonetheless, we are showing the what are the things we learned and the outcomes that is, led to this initial project. So first of all, I think what we have able to do is combine the RX norm, what you call as coding system, with the Indian data set which is available from Tata 1mg, and that was the one of the major tasks that we have achieved, which almost included around like 363,000 brand names, and that is directly connected with the 1865 active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is directly connected now with the OMOP common data table.
You're muted, Rintu.
Oh, sorry. And on the I hope I'll just start from the back side. Yeah. So what we could achieve here is that we could able to map completely with the NLP workflow, and plus also manual validation and annotations. So we could able to connect directly all the 365,000 around brand drug names directly to the API, which is the active pharmaceutical ingredients, and into the table that is available in the OMOP CDM. And additionally, we also since when we started the project, we also knew that there is already effort done in early I think 2018 or 2019 by Tata 1mg, and also the AIMS New Delhi, and plus the CDAC team, along with the SNOMED International, and which led to our National Resource Center for EHR standards, which contains the CI dataset, and that was directly mapped to the SNOMED city, but in the substance table. So what we have done is the extension of this with the RX norm table. So now we have a broadly two of the national and a comprehensive data set which we have the brand drug names and link to the OMOP table, which allow us the building block for building on top of the other language models. And in this project, what we have done also that, since the project is going to extend and also has a lot of relevance with not only the condition that we are looking into, but other disease conditions. So we have connected this database and extended to other international important databases like FDA, this unique identifier code base of the global substance registry, and plus also the drug bank database. And then what we actually also have done is that comparing all of this analysis with how many of the WHO recommended aware classification antibiotics, and this is what we see that in India we have almost like 56,000 brand drug names that is available in the market, and of which, if we see in the watch, we have almost like 40,000 brand drugs of the antibiotics, and plus we have the excess around like 25, and therefore reserve we have 4.3, but the number is huge, which means that we have availability of those drugs in India, which is listed at the aware classification. And this is just top 7 drugs for which we have the corresponding drug brand names. And when we actually see, because the active pharmaceutical ingredients are typically come in silo or also in combination, so we wanted to do is see that how those active ingredients are interlinked, and also that how many drug brand names are there. So if you see in the blue cluster, which is the largest component or sub network in the graph, so around 42,000 drug brand names are there, which are very much intertwined and interlinked with those one. And coming to the top drugs that is available, if we see the acetaminophen, which is the what they call paracetamol, which is very much famous in India, that is come in the cluster 1, and we have one antibiotic which is the neomycin sulfate, which is also present. I'll show in the coming slide about the other antibiotics which are linked to. So here in the network you can see the yellow ones, the yellow dot ones are the ones which are the antibiotics, and we have almost neomycin sulfate as one of the largest degree that is interconnected with the active pharmaceutical ingredient. And then once we have the main building block of the database or the knowledge base that is required for interlinking our brand drugs and with the with the active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is directly interlinked with the RX norm code. So we venture with partnership with the My Healthcare, which almost interlink or on in fact onboard hospitals, tier 2, tier 3 hospitals in India, and they almost have almost like 40 hospitals. And this was a very small data set there as a proof of concept we started with, which is contains around 263,000 unique electronic health records that was captured in two different formats. One is a basic format and a SOAP format. In the basic format, you have more of like a free form of writing, but in SOAP format, you have a very specification to write the information in a structured way. So to see that how the language models really do, we first did a curated a high level training data set, which is around like 8,000 plus clinical prescription notes, because we wanted to see very specifically on our Indian brand drug names and the active ingredient which is need to be benchmarked. And this is the story when we started the project in very early that time, where we did not had much of a reasoning models on top of this. And then for this we had like two kind of settings, but I will just going to show one of the settings and how we did the whole exercise. So we started with two methodology. One is a parameter efficient fine tuning and a few shot prompting. And with that, what we have understood is that if we go with a few shot learning and also with the parameter efficient fine tuning, this is the few shot prompting based, and sorry for the this mistake, and this is the parameter efficient fine tuning. We can clearly see that if you do a parameter efficient fine tuning with the training data set, we actually see less hallucination than in case of the few shot prompting. And then once we had the second stage, what we actually did is that we also try to extract all the information without two kind of settings. One was the reasoning based language models and the non-reasoning based reasoning model. This is a exercise which have done, I think, last 8 months back. And clearly we said that, see that there is a differences in the extraction of the terms from the basic notes and also the SOAP assessment notes. And this is just a cloud word cloud to show that the extracted terms that was present in those notes. And when we actually do a mapping of those terminologies with our two of the knowledge base, one on the 1mg and also on the CDCI based common data table, we clearly see, because we have in 1mg we have the extensive list of the drug and the brand names, so we are able to map more towards that one. But we see a less number in the NRCs. But nonetheless, because NRC has been there with us for since the beginning, so we combining both of them actually give us more resolution than the single one of them. And this is a list of the number of patients that we could able to extract from the total records from the basic notes. It is around like 41% of the records contain the antibiotic related terms. And this is the number of terms that is extracted from each of the LLMs. And we can see that if you see here, the in common across all the models, we see only 2,400 of them are which are able to capture the antibiotic terms. But if we see on the each of this graph, you find that some of the models were able to capture more than the common set itself. And in this Quine 2.5 actually had almost 11,000 terms who are able to extract. And then when we see with the non-empty related non-empty nodes types that was present in this, so we find that in the basic SOAP we had around uniquely 18,000 of them. In the basic diagnostic nodes we had 17,000, and likewise. And because the initial data set we had was less, so in the SOAP we find a less amount of data set. And in this, since we also ask about the diagnosis nodes also, where symptoms and in the signs and also the disease, so we have additionally the diagnosis and the assessment related information also. So this is just the snapshot to highlight that how many of them are common. So it is very different from what we see in the what do you call as in the antibiotics. This is more to do with the symptoms and the disease condition. We see there's a very less number of overlapping that is present at least in the basic notes. On the SOAP assessment we see highest number, because most probably because SOAP typically contain very structured information where you have coding of the ICD-10 also. And this is just to put into the context is that the main idea was to bring our data, which is this is the small snapshot of one of the data set for which we had the antibiotic related information, which is the brand names we can see here, all of this in the bold. And then the main purpose of how we bring this into a common data table, and this is where exactly we reached that for a given patient you can actually have the drugs and the corresponding extracted terms and what was their active ingredients. And also one of the things that which we wanted to highlight is that on the case of the basic notes, if we see, there are, because we have used this reasoning and non-reasoning based models. For example, Granite actually do very well where it able to find the context. For example, here it was mentioned father hypertensive, which actually typically comes under the hypertension familial. And we are already working on this where we are connecting this symptoms and diseases with not only the common data table, but also incorporating other biomedical ontology database. And we see a lot of in our experiments that if we use only common data model tables, which is available for the symptoms, it does not give the resolution for genetic diseases, and which is very much present in case of the OBO tables or our biomedical ontologies. And this is another use case for the non-antibiotic parts, which to just to highlight that we are able to map to the common data table directly from the free text. And currently what we are here, so we are able to actually finish at least for the diagnosis and the symptoms. We have the proof of concept and then to extract from the unstructured data to put into a table. And there are a lot of, I think at the publication quality level work need to be really put into forwarded, but nonetheless this gives us a lot of good understanding about how complex it is and how we can leverage existing not only common data models but also the ontologies that is available, which is very much specific to by the human diseases. So one of the I think one of the learnings and the things that offshooted from this project, I think it is was very helpful. So I think Matthew got an internal Johns Hopkins award, and also I could secure another project from based on this one on common data model, and there we went from directly from the document paper based document to common data tables, and then this is just we received last year in the mid, so hope to extend our work in there, and which is very specific to a IVF setting. And then a couple of more grants we have submitted last, I think 6 months back, for which we are awaiting. And there are some positive news are there, but nonetheless, until we receive, and which is primarily on diagnostic data set on imaging and non-imaging framework, where we are applying vision models and also the common data tables and all the learnings that whatever we are getting from here to there. And then another projects on common data model, cancer informatics and spatial informatics already we have submitted, and we are at least reached to the second stage of that work. Coming to the outcomes, additionally, we had participated in our Odyssey, which is the OMOP CDM actually originated from Odyssey, which is the observational health data science and informatics, and there our work has been highlighted as 3 posters and 2 lightning song, which we just finished in last December. And then also our work was actually mentioned as a center of excellence in research, especially in the common data model, AI and digital health, in the Odyssey Global Symposium, which happened last year in October. And I think most importantly, what the project actually gave, I think because I was a early research career, and actually this really helped me in actually bringing a lot of interdisciplinary scholars. I think that was very important. And in fact, Rudra is I think one of the examples where he joined very early in doing those structuring of the data set, and now he's actually doing MTech in health informatics, which he never thought that he will be continuing his field, and it's in IIT Bombay, KCDH. And then we have postdocs we have hired, and also some different people from physics, maths background. And also not only this, the 800 more plus actually annotation was done primarily by doctors, young doctors, and also the doctors who have already finished their MBBS. And I think that was a really nice learning that happened. And then thank you so much. And if there is any question, if I have overshooted, sorry for that, for the time. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for that wonderful presentation. I think now we can quickly move to the next part of the session where we are aiming to understand the faculty pitches, some ideas that can be presented by the members from GHU, IIT, and Ashoka University. So we will start with the faculty pitches now. Dr. Shruti has joined us. So Dr. Shruti, would you like to go first and talk about your idea on cystic fibrosis? Dr. Shruti, can you hear us? Okay, so we are not able to hear. So we can move to the next speaker. I would like to invite Dr. Ganesh Shivaraman from IIT Bombay, and he'll be presenting his research ideas. Sir, in the interest of time, I'll request you to keep it to 90 seconds or less.
Yeah, thank you. I'm an incoming professor at KCDH at IIT Bombay. I just have I'll present my background and potential collaborations at JHU. I still need to ideate on the prospective proposal that I would like to write. So I'm Ganesh Sivaraman. I'm an incoming assistant professor at KCDH, and I'll be working on behavioral health and audiovisual signal processing for healthcare applications. A brief about my journey: I did my master's and PhD from University of Maryland, College Park, mainly focusing on speech processing. I've been working in the area of speech and audio, AI, and pretty much all problems related to speech and audio for the past 15 years. I was a senior research scientist at Pindrop Security for 7 years, working on voice biometrics and security on the call center and IoT channels. I will be joining as a professor at IIT Bombay soon, within 2 months this year. So this is my brief journey. My PhD research was in the problem called speech inversion. So speech production is where you use the vocal tract to produce the speech signal. The movement of the muscles in the vocal tract produces the speech signal as the output. Speech inversion is the inverse problem where you take the speech signal and try to estimate what the articulators are doing to produce that particular speech. So the articulatory trajectories of the lip, the tongue, and the jaw can be modeled from the speech signal. So during my PhD, I applied this speech inversion for speech recognition. But after I graduated, there were several researchers in the community who used it for healthcare applications, and it has been very widely cited by people working in mental health from speech, people working on COVID and respiratory disorder detection from speech, and all of that. That was quite surprising. So my research has had a significant impact in speech-based healthcare interventions. And this is a brief about my industry expertise, where I was able to take speech AI from the lab to commercial products, which was a very unique experience of learning how to make things work in the industry, ranging from automatic speech recognition, speech enhancement, voice biometrics, and deepfake detection. So all these problems have been like quite productive in terms of patents and publications, and also product impact by adding additional features to the company's product. So these are some outputs of my work in the industry. So as a vision of what I want to do, the vision for my research lab is to have AI-based tools for speech therapy and mental health, conversational AI for electronic health records, which is the automatic speech recognition component, and then hearing and cognitive degradation, understanding the neural pathways for hearing degradation and neural pathways for cognitive disorders. So just potential collaborations at JHU. I have some very good friends at Center for Language and Speech Processing, and some professors I really look up to in the Human Language Technology Center of Excellence at JHU. Professor Ramachalapa is as a mentor and a guide, and because of his support, I'm where I am today, and it would be great to get his mentorship on a project for GKII. And Professor Vishal Patel is also a very good friend and mentor from University of Maryland. Both of them were at Maryland when I was a PhD student. So yeah, this is a pitch of who I am and what I'm planning to do. So I look forward to curating a problem and a proposal for GKII soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh. So then we can move to the next idea. I would like to invite Dr. Lipika De from Ashoka University. Has Dr. Lipika De joined from Ashoka University? I think we don't have her here with us, so we can move to the next speaker, Dr. Sudipta Tung. Sir, over to you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you for the session. So for the lack of time, I'll just not use the slide. Briefly, I am a early career fellow at Ashoka University, currently working in biology department, particularly focusing on the impact of diet on various health aspects using fruit fly as a model system. So I and some of my colleagues at Ashoka, we were discussing a project which I would like to essentially pitch here, that basically one of the major challenge what we see in diet and its association with NCD is that there are a lot of data available and also a lot of associations are being made. However, a strong validatory system which is missing, which makes it just an association, but making causal relationship and progressing further becomes a difficulty. So in that context, we propose a validatory system using Fruitfly as a system where, as we are going ahead, we are going to leverage the in-house resource that is a long-standing experimental evolution population where the flies were being reared on contrasting isocaloric diet with varying macronutrient composition in the nutritional geometric framework for more than 100 generations. As we are speaking, we are generating data in the context of phenotype, NCD-related phenotypes, as well as transcriptomics, genomics, and metabolomics. We would like to integrate this data and leverage this along with a parallel axis of diet, biomarker, disease axis in the human realm to connect this in a dual-prong approach. And we'd be happy to discuss any sort of variants of this kind of work with potential collaborators. So currently, I am in conversation with my colleagues at Ashoka, Kanika Agarwal and Pradeep Tiwari, who will be speaking after me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. So we can move to the next speaker, Pradeep Tiwari from Ashoka University. Over to you.
Sure, yeah, thank you. I'll share my slide. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you everyone, and good evening and good morning to my colleagues at JHU. And so I'm Pradeep Tiwari. I'm recently joined as an assistant professor at KCDH, and I've been working on type 2 diabetes for quite some time now. And so my idea is to, so I'm proposing an idea on type 2 diabetes heterogeneity. And the idea is, I'll explain the idea. So there has been a lot of studies till now from both in Europe and USA and also in India, and where they have people have used basically the phenotypic biomarkers, only the handful of phenotypic biomarkers, and traditional clustering methods to classify type 2 diabetes patients into different subphenotypes. But the problem with these kind of method is that first, their k-means method is very traditional and it's not robust when you include more number of variables. Also, these kind of methods do not utilize the kind of information we have at hand, at our hand right now. For example, the genomic information or the molecular information about these patients. And the moment you add these information, these methods like k-means method, it breakdowns, or it also underperform. It kind of cluster all the individuals into smaller number of groups. So the idea of the way k-means function, it's very static and it assumes a fixed structure. But there are other methods like DDR3 and other topology based methods people are exploring, but these methods are mainly used for disease progression rather than the subphenotyping. So overall, the current methods are not suitable for handling large number of features. And so the idea is very simple, that first to utilize the available information, the genomic information and the genetic information or the other molecular information. So the idea is when we add these information to the data, the distance between the individuals should increase and it should lead to more granularity. However, with the current set of methods, we are not able to capture it. So first, we need to use more, we need to explore other geometry-based or the distance-based methods, existing methods, or if the current methods are not suitable for handling these kind of data, or leading to more granularity using these methods, we need to then move on to developing new methods to integrating all this information. And so this is the main idea. And so basically I'm proposing a shift from static framework to data adaptive framework for diabetes. And I believe this has the potential of getting more funds in the future, because first, the problem is important. The diabetes, India has a very high burden of diabetes. It's called India is diabetes capital of the world. And also, people have not been exploring this kind of frameworks. So far, the usual approach is to first classify the individuals into clusters and then look at their molecular features cluster wise. So I believe that we are not utilizing a lot of molecular information. So overall, this is the idea, that we can integrate and we can probably lead to more granularity, which will shift our framework from precision medicine to the personalized medicine. So thank you. And this work, we discussed this, developed this work in, developed this work in collaboration with Rintu. So he's our internal collaborator, happy to collaborate with other people from KCDH Bombay, or maybe also from John Hopkins University. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pradeep. And we have two more speakers from Ashoka University. So I'd like to call upon Dr. Koita Agarwal, ma'am, in the interest of time, requesting the presentation to be brief. So over to you.
Hi, I'll be very quick. I won't share my slides in the interest of time. So I'll just give a brief introduction about myself. So I'm an early career researcher at KCDH, and I'm a PhD in nutrition. So my area of interest lies in maternal and child nutrition along with non-communicable diseases. So the idea that I have in mind right now, and I'm willing to discuss and see how that pans out with potential collaborators, is looking at precision nutrition specifically for athletes, where we know that digital technologies and artificial intelligence have the capability of customizing solutions for individuals, where not one size fits all would be an ideal case for athletes, especially in weight category sports where weight loss and weight regain is an occasional problem that athletes face. So that is something that I'm interested in, and I would be happy to collaborate with interested potential collaborators. Also, alongside that, I would also I would just like to talk briefly about what Sudipto had mentioned earlier. We're also looking at validation models for nutrition in individuals and validating them on Drosophila to see whether those certain caloric restrictions or certain tweaking of macronutrient or proximate principles, how does that actually lead to affect our life cycle in the life cycle approach, basically. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for keeping it brief. And we are at the last speaker for the evening, Dr. Shilpa Karve. Ma'am, over to you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. I'm presenting my slide. Is that visible?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm Shraddha Karve. I'm assistant professor at KCDH. I work mainly with antimicrobial resistance, and I have been doing mainly genomic surveillance and some experimental evolution work in the area of antimicrobial resistance for past 3 years at Ashoka. So one of the we all know that AMR is one of the biggest public health challenges that is out there at the moment globally, but India particularly faces a large burden of this disease. And from all, AMR is a kind of a peculiar problem because it's not one pathogen, one disease, right? We have multiple pathogens, multiple routes of infection. But out of those, we know that the burden of respiratory AMR is quite a lot. Globally as well as in India. And one of the major gaps we have there is that of a precision diagnostics, which can tell you whether the respiratory infection is viral or bacterial in a short turnaround time. And secondly, it can actually identify that if it's a bacterial infection, what bacterial species and resistance it has for effective treatment or prescription. So identifying this gap, I have recently been connected with Sam, who is also here with me today, and we had been talking about some of the one platform that Sam has developed, how we could actually validate it for the bacterial samples as well as go further and do discovery for identifying different bacterial species using machine learning, because you cannot really now go directly into identifying the pathogen in a short turnaround time without actually doing the machine learning part. So over to you, Sam, now to explain that what is it that we had already discussed in the work there.
Yeah, thank you, Shraddha. And I really appreciate this opportunity. As Shraddha said, that we already kind of worked on this for the viral aspect of it. So we would like to take Shraddha's expertise and come up with a very similar workflow, which is done here. And we will use this concept of EV, which carry both host response as well as DNA for pathogen. And we will combine these efforts together. And at the end of the tunnel, hopefully we can develop a test where we can identify not only whether it's a viral infection or bacterial infection as a whole, but we can identify the exact strain of bacteria, and then we will use Pradeep's help to kind of build a machine learning algorithm so that we can pinpoint, not only the bacteria, whether that bacteria has any resistance of any antibiotics or not. So it's a huge opportunity for this team which we are trying to build. And thank you for your support and building this 8,000 miles bridge.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we are at time, but in case some of us can stay back, we can quickly go over the application process and share that with the potential applicants. So I'll just take another 5 minutes and very briefly walk you through the application process for the breakthrough grants. And so this particular iteration of the breakthrough grants has a EOI submission stage. We will require all applicants to write joint EOI applications. The link we will have shared on our website, and we can share it separately over mail with are potential applicants. EOIs have a deadline of 31st January. And in the subsequent slides, we'll just go over the EOI submission page. All EOIs and the final proposals will be submitted via the InfoReady portal. So this is the link for the InfoReady portal. We can quickly register and apply here. And the InfoReady portal works both for Hopkins, people with the Hopkins University login, and even Ashoka University or IIT Bombay folks can log in and create an ID. So it can be submitted either by the Hopkins side or by the IIT or the Ashoka University side. It's a very brief form and has the basic data that is required. Then once the data is entered, you can click on apply. And then it opens the submission box where we require a very simple EOI, just a one-page research plan outlining the work on the idea that needs to be undertaken. It can include up to 30 references. It's not included in the page limit, and we will require biographical sketches in the NIH format for all PIs. So once the EOIs are submitted, we'll move to the full proposal submission. The full proposal submission deadline is 31st March 2026. We expect at least a 3-page research plan outlining these 3 areas, which include the background, specific aims, research methodology, and an overall timeline of the project. It has to be completed. Similarly, we will require budgeting for both the KCDH side as well as the GHU side. It's important that both sides present their individual budget because there'll be no transfer of funds between GHU and the participating institutions. So each side will present their own budgets. And again, biographical sketches and references. Quickly going over the domain areas that are will be considered under the application cycle. So anything from AI-enabled diagnosis, disease surveillance, digital health records, health system strengthening and optimization, NCDs, maternal child health, and AI for health equity. Quickly going over the eligibility criteria. So each proposal must have one PI from one from Johns Hopkins and one from Ashoka University for Ashoka, and then for the KCDH at Bombay, one PI from IIT Bombay and one for GHU. So the applicants must have a faculty position. We encourage participation of junior faculty and early career investigators. Similarly, we can have master's students, postdoctoral students as co-investigators and collaborators. One important thing that we require is the institutional endorsement, because what we've seen is many times projects that are working with government or certain other agencies find it difficult, and a lot of time goes in the taking the regulatory approval. So proposals which can demonstrate institutional endorsement will be preferred. Going to the budgets, so we'll be funding 2 projects per center, and they'll be funded for an amount of $80,000. So on each side, around $40,000 will be provided to the PIs, and this will be broken into $35,000 and $5,000 to support the faculty and student exchange. So this is something that also needs to be built in the proposals. And finally, coming to the review criteria and the success metrics, we'll look at scientific approach, multidisciplinary collaboration, significance and impact, feasibility, potential for further funding, and cost effectiveness. So we'll be giving this a weighted score. So the proposals which are finally submitted on 31st March 2026 will be gauged on this success metric. So that was a very quick description of the application process. However, I would request Dr. Raghav and Dr. Radha to share my email ID with the potential applicants, and I can help you out on the way to understand the application process in case there are any further questions. So with that, I can hand it over to Kunal to formally close the session. Kunal, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Meghashish. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kunal Pal, the Executive Director of the Gupta-Klinsky India Institute. Very grateful for all our participants and presenters today. This program only works with the spirit and zeal of collaboration. So we really encourage you, if there are ideas discussed today that have sparked interest, please feel free to connect directly with the eyes on either side and or ask our team to make introductions. We'd be more than happy to do that. And as Venkashish mentioned, for any logistical questions about applications, the process, timelines, etc., please don't hesitate to get in touch with the program team. So we'll share much more information by email. This is just the beginning. And again, we're very grateful for your time. So thank you all, and good evening to those in India, and have a great day to those in the US.
Thank you, everyone. Really enjoyed
Thank you.
getting to know some of you for the first time and others. Again, congrats. Look forward to more collaboration.
Thank you.